Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to say something on inferential statistics. Before going to say in detail, let me explain some of the important concepts related to statistical inference, that is random variable and probability distribution. Random variable. Random variable, we can say that this is a quantitative variable whose value depends on chance, or in some other way we can say that it is a numerical summary of a random outcome. In this way we can also say. Similarly, we can classify the random variable into two parts. First one is discrete random variable, another one is continuous random variable. Discrete random variable takes only a discrete set of values, whereas continuous random variable takes a continuous possible values. Now we are concentrating on the important word in statistics, that is distribution. So we can say in this way that distribution is a showcase which reflects the values of the variable and how often it occur. This showcase may be a table, a chart, or a mathematical formula to express the frequencies and the frequencies of the variable with respect to their value, or the value of the variable with respect to their corresponding frequencies. Similarly, probability distribution of a discrete random variable, we can say that it is a chart or table which shows the possible values of the discrete random variable such as 1, 2, 3 like this, and the corresponding probability of that values side by side, such that the sum of these probabilities is equal to 1. Similarly, the probability distribution of a continuous random variable, we can say in this way that it shows the area, that is its probability of a continuous random variable within a given range of its values. The probability of occurrence is reflected by their probability density function. The area under probability density function between any 2 points is the probability that the random variable falls within these 2 points. Similarly, the cumulative probability distribution, that is the probability that the random variable is less than or equal to a particular value. Some other important concept, that is the sampling distribution of the sample mean. Let us assume that y is any random variable. Definitely y bar means the mean of the variable of a particular sample size. Similarly, we can able to calculate mean of another sample of the same size. Therefore, the sampling distribution of the sample mean is the distribution of all possible sample mean, that is especially with respect to the sample size. This is the sampling distribution of the sample mean. Similarly, what is the relation between the mean of all possible sample mean and the population mean? Actually, the mean of all possible sample mean given a sample size and the population mean, these two are same. Therefore, mean of the sample mean, all possible sample mean, is equal to population mean. Similarly, the variance of the sample mean, that means all possible sample means, variance, and the population variance is related in this way, sigma by root n, where sigma is the population standard deviation, n is the sample size. Another important concept is central limit theorem, that is the distribution of the sample mean will approximated by a normal distribution when the sample size is large. Therefore, for large sample size, the distribution of the sample mean is approximated or approaches towards normal distribution. Considering continuous probability distribution, Generally, there are 4 types of continuous probability distribution. These are normal distribution, chi-square distribution, t distribution, f distribution. A variable follows normal distribution if it has this type of bell-shaped distribution, bell-shaped curve. Okay, so if the PDF probability density function of a normal variable follows this type of distribution, then it is known as normal distribution. Generally, normal distribution may be unstandardized normal distribution and standardized normal distribution. In unstandardized normal distribution, generally its mean is not equal to 0 and standard deviation is not equals to 1. So we have to convert the unstandardized normal distribution into standardized normal distribution by subtracting its mean and dividing by standard deviation, so that a standardized normal distribution's mean is equals to 0 and standard deviation is equals to 1. Similarly, a chi-square distribution, actually we have to develop one chi-square variate, and chi-square variate is nothing but the square of the standard normal variable. If we take 4 normal variable, that means 4 standard normal variable, and squaring all the 4 standard normal variable and then adding, that means summation of 4 standard normal distribution, it follows the distribution that is known as chi-square distribution, or the variable that is generated with the summation of the squared standard normal distribution is the chi-square variable or chi-square variate. And it has another thing, that is degrees of freedom. The number of standard or standardized normal variable that is added is its degrees of freedom. If the standardized normal variate is 4, that means x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4, or x1 square, x2 plus x2 square plus x3 square plus x4 square, where all the x's are standard normal variable, then their summation, if we write their summation as follows: chi-square distribution, or the variable that is generated is chi-square variate. Similarly, if we develop another variable by taking the ratio of 2 variable, one is standard normal variable, another is chi-square variable with some algebraic operation, that means square root of chi-square variate divided by its degrees of freedom, then this ratio follows the distribution that is known as t distribution. Here t is known as t. So t is the ratio of one standardized normal variable and chi-square variable. Generally, in case of regression analysis, for checking or investigating the individual coefficient, the significance of individual coefficient, we use t statistic. Again, regarding the f distribution, if we develop another statistic which is the ratio of 2 chi-square variable, one is with m degrees of freedom, another is n degrees of freedom, then the ratio of 2 chi-square variable follows the distribution that is known as f distribution. So f distribution, whenever we say it has 2 degrees of freedom. One is numerator degrees of freedom, another is denominator degrees of freedom. Generally, for overall fitness of model, regression model, we use f statistic. We use for calculating interval estimation or confidence interval of 2 population standard deviation, we use f statistic. Similarly, for the exclusion of 1 or 2 variable, that means to check the significance level for the exclusion of 2 variables or more than 2 or 1 variable, we use f statistic. Lot of uses are there for f statistics. Similarly, t statistics, chi-square statistic, and normal distribution. Now we are concentrating on the confidence interval and its application. As we know, confidence interval, generally we use the 95% level, means whenever we are taking the decision from the range of values of the sample statistic about the population parameter, then 95% confidence interval means what the decision we are taking regarding the null hypothesis, whether acceptance of null hypothesis or rejection of null hypothesis, that is in 95% cases we are taking the right decision. Maybe in 5% cases our decision may be, or there may be some error in our decision, that is the possibility of error is 5%. So it is 95% confidence interval. We have 95% we are 95% confident that the decision is correct. There may be wrong in 5% cases. Now we can use this confidence interval, or we can calculate this confidence interval in terms of for calculating population mean when the population standard deviation is known. When the population standard deviation is unknown, how can we calculate confidence interval for one population mean from the sample mean? Similarly, for one population standard deviation, okay, that is the confidence interval for one population standard deviation. Similarly, two population standard deviation, it is based on chi-square distribution, one population standard deviation, and two population standard deviation is based on F distribution. But in case of two population mean, that is explained in my last video, so I am not going to repeat the thing. In that case, we have given the example of number of students appearing in joint entrance examination, similar something like this. Now this is the confidence interval for population mean when the standard deviation is known. Now how can we proceed? That the formula is, this is the standard normal curve, okay, PDF. Now this is Z alpha by 2, means this area alpha by 2. If alpha is 95% confidence interval, means 1 minus 95%, that is 5%. So alpha by 2 is Z 0.025, Z 0.025. okay, this is the value of the standard normal variable, and this is the area to the right of this value. So the value for Z 0.025 is 1.96, that we can obtain from table value. Okay, so this is 0.025, this area, this is 0.025, this area. Therefore we can calculate x bar, that is sample mean plus minus, that means just to get the range of values, 1.96, this 1.96 into population standard deviation by root n. Root n is the sample size, and from this calculation we can easily calculate root n equals to this, therefore n equals to square of this. That means the possible number of sample size can also be calculated on the basis of this formula. In this way we can calculate the standard the confidence interval for population mean when standard deviation, population standard deviation is known. Now when population standard deviation is not known, then we have to take this process. So this is T distribution. This is T distribution. Now we cannot able to rely on standard normal distribution. Now we have to rely on T distribution. This is known as T interval procedure. So this is the PDF of T distribution. Similarly, T 0.025, T 0.025 alpha by 2. Okay, now we have to calculate this value, and the formula is mean, sample mean plus minus the area. This is the since the population standard deviation is not known, so we can use the sample standard deviation as a proxy of the population standard deviation by a root n. That is, now we have to calculate the value of this area for the T value. What is the value of T for this area which covers this area? it depends on the degrees of freedom. So with respect to degrees of freedom, we have to calculate this t score value, t value. Okay, putting this t value, so the sample mean plus minus that t value, the sample standard deviation by root over of sample size. Okay, in this way we can calculate the confidence interval for when the population standard deviation is not known or unknown. Similarly, we can able to calculate the population standard deviation by using this formula, the chi-square statistic. It follows chi-square distribution. The formula is n minus 1 by sigma square into s square. S is the sample variance and this is population variance. So from this expression we can able to calculate the value of sigma in this way, that root over of n minus 1 by chi-square 1 minus alpha by 2 into s, okay, up to this value. So chi-square 1 minus alpha by 2, this is chi-square up to alpha, this is chi-square 1 minus alpha by 2, and the confidence interval varies from this value to this value. Okay, so we will get one chi-square value corresponding to suppose this is 0.025. Similarly, we will get another chi-square value corresponding to 1 minus 0.025, that is 0.975, something like this. We will get, putting this value we can able to calculate the confidence interval for population standard deviation. Similarly, here the degrees of freedom is n minus 1. Similarly, we can calculate the population standard deviation for two population standard deviation when the number of population is 2. In this way, in this case we have to calculate F statistic, because this statistic follows the F distribution. Okay, the formula is S1 square by sigma 1 square by S2 square by sigma 2 square. S1 is the sample 1 variance and S2 is the sample 2 variance, Sigma 1 is the population 1 variance, sigma 2 is the population 2 variance. And since this is F statistic and it follows F distribution with 2 degrees of freedom, that is, one is numerator degrees of freedom in 1 minus 1, another is denominator degrees of freedom in 2 minus 1. So whenever we check the table value, we have to check in this numerator degrees of freedom and denominator degrees of freedom, and our statistic becomes, we have to calculate that sigma 1 square by sigma 2 square 1 by f into h1 square by h2, then square root of this equals to this. Now we can calculate the confidence interval for this value of f value when the area is this f alpha by 2. Alpha by 2 means if alpha is 0.05, then it will be 0.025. Similarly, it will be 1 minus 0.025, that is 0.975, something like this. So we can get 2 F score from table, that is this value for this value, what is the F score which covers this area, and the F value for which is covering this area, and then on the basis of these two value we can calculate the confidence interval for two population standard deviation. This is the formula. So we are using standard normal distribution for the confidence interval of one population mean when the population standard deviation is known. We can use the t distribution when the population standard deviation is unknown. We can use the chi-square distribution when we can consider the confidence interval of one population standard deviation. Similarly, we can consider the F distribution when we are considering the confidence interval. We are calculating the confidence interval for two population. So in this way we can use the 4 continuous probability distribution for finding the confidence interval. So thank you for today. Thank you.